Our world is changing. I think that's clear by now. And it's never going to be the same. But I'm here to show you today that each of you already has the one tool that's going to help you face the challenges of the future, even though we might not know what those challenges will be. But I have to warn you that the rules of the game are changing. It's not the changes that are happening that we've heard about, the refugee crisis, energy crisis, many other changes that are happening, are not some things that are happening and then going to go away. Up till a few years ago, if there was a major change in the world, like the Industrial Revolution, it was a huge thing. Our whole world was turned upside down. But after a few years, we got into another continuum. And it stayed for about 100 years. But right now, changes are happening in many different areas, on many different levels, and they all interact. If something happens, something new is invented in biology, and you mix that with technology, you get all kinds of new possibilities. And possibilities also mean threats to some people. But before we go into that, let's have a look at what's happening right now. First, we have exponential growth. Things are not growing linearly anymore. It's growing exponentially. And the biggest example, for example, is data storage. Remember 10 years ago what you could store on a chip or on your computer? Right now, it has increased, the prices have gone down, and it's going down further. You get more data for less money. If you look at mobile devices, right now, we have 8 billion internet-connected mobile devices in the world. In 10 years, it will be 50 billion. And in another 10 years, it will be 1 trillion internet-connected devices. Imagine what is possible, what is going to happen, because everything is connected. Then we have disruptive innovations. It means not an innovation that is a little bit new, but that is changing the whole game. Look at Kodak, the photography company. They were doing great, right? They were growing, and they were the major name in photography. We all know, we all had the the Kodak films. They had 150,000 employees. And then digital photography was introduced. And they didn't take it seriously. They thought, we're the biggest, you know, we've got a track record. And the year they went out of business was the same year that a small company of 14 employees went public. That was Instagram. That's disruptive technology, disruptive innovations. And of course, we have the cloud. And the cloud is not only technology, but it discloses data, information. Knowledge used to be power, but now sharing knowledge is power. There's a 16-year-old boy in the United States who lost his uncle to pancreatic cancer. And he was so sad and angry, and he felt frustrated. He wanted to do something. So he started to search the internet for an early detection possibility. Because by the time they detect pancreatic cancer, it's already too late. And he thought, what if they had discovered it earlier, then my uncle would have still been alive? And this guy searched and combined things. And without a medical background, he was only 16 years old and he had a computer and the internet, he found an early detection method. You can do his test at home, and it only costs $2 or $3. And in the process, he also discovered some other early detection methods for other forms of cancer. It's a 16-year-old guy with a computer and the internet. And what we've heard about abundance, our whole model of economy is based on scarcity. Energy, workforce, data, knowledge. But we're going to an era where there's abundance. Everything is shared, everything is available, prices go down. Solar energy, solar revolution. Let's share the sun. We've heard the story of Waka Waka. Solar energy is becoming cheaper and cheaper and more powerful. And some point in the future, it will be free. Energy will be free. And what will that mean to our economy, to our society? There's billions of examples. And we've heard today about swarms. Communities and crowds, they are so powerful. More and more people are connected. Right, 5 years ago, there were 1 billion people connected through the internet. In 5 years, there will be 5 billion people connected. They have access to everything, all the knowledge to each other. And a lot of those people will be very diverse people. People from Africa, people from Asia. And they will have different needs, they will have different questions, and they will have different solutions. Look at all the power we're unlocking. What if you can bring all those minds together? And we've heard today some examples of groups of people getting together, people with a similar interest, and they physically come together and create great solutions. But what is happening right now with all these developments is that you don't have to physically come together anymore. And we don't have to search in this room and our colleagues and the friends and the people we know for people who have knowledge of a certain topic. Communities in the internet bring people together with the same interests. And there are already, for example, DNA sequencing groups. People with no medical background, they just have an interest in DNA sequencing. Labs are opening their doors, giving courses, having people come in and just do research, and amazing things are happening. Now, what does that mean for us? It means that we cannot see the future. It's not waiting until the dust settles down, until the mist clears, and we have an idea of where we're going. The dust is never going to settle down. We have to learn to navigate in a cloud, in the mist, without knowing where we're going. So our tools are not important anymore. Our software is not important anymore. Our possessions are not important. What is important is your attitude. That's the only thing you are sure of and the only thing you can influence. Anybody knows what this is? This is the Chinese sign for crisis. And what I've recently learned is that it is composed of 2 words, danger and opportunity. Isn't that fitting? When there's a crisis, some people consider it as a danger. Other people say, ha, it's an opportunity. But in fact, it's both. And why do people and organizations react differently to a crisis? It's their attitude. Now imagine you're going to the beach for a nice swim. And you see a lot of waves. Now you must know those different people and different attitudes. Some people say, hey, that's not fair. There weren't supposed to be any waves today. I checked the Weather Channel, and it's the beginning of October. Every year, the beginning of October, there's no waves. It's not fair. You know what? I'm going to sue the Weather Channel. And you can get away with this for years, right? Suing, being angry, saying it's not fair, and in the meantime, the waves are still there. There's another group of people who say, well, there weren't supposed to be any waves. I don't know what to do with waves. I don't like waves. I'm here to swim. I'm going to ignore the waves. I'm just going to swim. What is happening to those people? Something like that. Washing machine. Not very productive either. So the only thing you can do when you get to the beach is look at the situation that's there, without any judgment, without any baggage. Just see what is there and see how you can make the most of it. Get your surfboard out, try surfing. That's the only way to be in control. And I know from experience, unfortunately, that the world is changing so fast that sometimes the system cannot keep up with reality. And there's several ways you can deal with it. Either you wait until the system adjusts, or you can build a new system, or you can just find your own way. I'm a digital nomad. I travel around the world. I've been in over 100 countries. But I live in Holland. At least I used to live in Holland. I used to have a house there. For 18 years, I bought a house, and that was my basis for traveling. I give presentations everywhere, workshops, I write books, and I'm a product of the Netherlands as the Netherlands used to be, like an explorative country, sending out ships, bringing messages, new innovations. So in fact, I'm a typical Dutch person. And I even got awarded, I got knighted for some of the initiatives I did by the Queen, by the mayor, for being like an example citizen of this village. So one day I go to the town hall to extend my passport. And the city hall people say, I'm sorry, Ms. Jacobs, we cannot extend your passport because you don't live here anymore. And I'm like, I'm sorry, must be a mistake, right? I own a house, I pay taxes, I live here. And said, no, 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 no. There's a law in the Netherlands that if you sleep in your house for less than 4 months a year, you're not allowed to register there. And I'm saying, I didn't know about this law. Well, as a citizen, you're supposed to know about this law. And I said, well, I guess this law is meant for people who have several houses or who live in another country or who are trying to evade taxes. I'm paying taxes, I'm not getting anything from society. I own my house, I've lived there for 18 years. How come you can say I don't live there anymore? No, no, these are the rules. So I was sent away without a passport. I was not allowed to live in my own house anymore. Actually, I was allowed to live there, but not to register. So I was confused. I was angry. I was sad. I brought in the media, and they covered it. They said, this is ridiculous. A model citizen is, not allowed to live in her own house anymore. I went to the politics, and the ministers had a meeting, especially about my case. And their conclusion was, well, factually, the town people were right. This law is there, and we have to apply it. And I said, we're sorry, you're a pioneer. You're living a new type of lifestyle, but our society is just not prepared for that. Thank you, bye-bye. So I went home, and I lost my parking permit, because it's linked to the registration. I lost my voting rights, my pension. I got kicked out of the health insurance, because as a resident of the Netherlands, you have to be insured, but if you're not a resident, they don't want you anymore. My company got deregistered from the Chamber of Commerce, because if you don't have an address, ma'am, you cannot have a company. And because I lost my Chamber of Commerce registration, they closed my bank accounts, they cancelled my phone plan. Basically, I got fired from the Netherlands for traveling too much. This is only 2 years ago. This is happening right now. There was only one organization in the Netherlands who said, Ms. Jacobs, to us, you are still a Dutch person. You will always be a Dutch person. And those were the tax people. I lost all my rights, but they still wanted me to pay taxes. And I tried to look for solutions, but nobody wanted to move. They all said, well, we can tell you what you're not, but we cannot tell you what you are or where you can go, or we cannot give any solutions. So I had to find my own solutions. So at first, I wanted the problem to go away. I was looking at the waves and ignoring them, and then they came over me, and I said, it's not fair, and I wanted to change the waves, but of course, they cannot be changed. So I had to find a solution. So my surfboard was that I had to found another company to send invoices, and I founded it in the British Virgin Islands, where you don't have to pay taxes. But that's not my main goal. My main goal was the freedom. And if you don't have to pay taxes, you don't have to keep any books, you don't have to keep any administration, no receipts, no responsibility, nobody asking you where you've been, what you're doing. And I was completely free. For the first time in my life, I felt independent and free. And of course, I had to find my own solutions. But you know where I got my health insurance? I was in Mallorca, Spain, and I went to IKEA. And there's this IKEA family part, and they had this big flyer saying medical insurance. So I was like, excuse me, do you have to live in Spain to get this medical insurance? No, ma'am. But is the coverage worldwide? Yes, of course. And so I can get this insurance? Yes, you can get it today. And how much is it? And the price was lower than the obligatory insurance in the Netherlands. So what you are all paying, I'm paying less. So in the end, I wrote a book about this, digital nomad book, and I offered it to the town hall that kicked me out, basically, to thank them for the opportunity they gave me. And this is the major lesson that you can learn from not only this story, but a lot of the other stories you've heard today. You are in charge. You are the master of your own attitude. And it might be a small thing, but it's the biggest possession you have. Nobody can take it away from you, and you can decide what you do in each situation. And I'd like to give you some more specifics, because after a day of inspiration, you're going home, and tonight you think, oh yeah, well, and then Monday you have to go back to work, and you don't know what to do with all the inspiration you got. The first thing that we often forget is stop and stare. Look at the situation. Without any judgment, without any ego. No history, no past, no judgment. Look at the waves and conclude that there are waves. Then, accept that there's nothing you can change. Some things, like economy, politics, climate, we cannot change them. Not short term, anyway. So see what's happening, accept the situation, and make the best of what's there. Identify opportunities. There's always an opportunity. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but when you're in the middle of the shit, there's always a present. So dive into the shit. Look for the present. It's always there, and it's up to you to find it. And that way, getting into a shitty situation will be fun the next time. And finally, when you find the opportunity, you have to act. And there's lots of presentations about getting out of your comfort zone and taking the first step and getting a big challenge and cutting it into bite-sized pieces. I think we all know how to do that. But what I'm trying to get at, the first step, stop and stare and accept the situation without all the baggage and judgment. That's what I'd like to invite you to do. Who of you are wearing glasses? Some of you are. But those of you who are not, you must have sunglasses, right? So if you wear glasses, if you're not, pretend you're taking your glasses off. Please take them off if you're wearing them, or pretend. Now, while you're doing this, you're taking away all kinds of observations, of judgments. So by taking your glasses off several times a day, you have an opportunity to remind yourself, I'm taking away all those colored glasses, all those experiences, judgments, history. And when you put your glasses on, every morning, every time during the day you put your glasses on, please remind yourself that you can choose the color of your glasses, and remind yourself that you can be objective. So from now on, every time you put on your glasses, you take off your glasses, you have several times a day an opportunity. It only takes 1 second to change your perspective of the world. And I wish you lots of fresh perspectives. Thank you.